Hey guys, I apologize for any background noise in this video. I'm traveling, so I have to record this in a coffee shop. Get ready, it's going to be an awesome day today. Hey guys, it is April 15th, pre-market about 6:30 in the morning, April 15th. Look, the markets are looking like they're just trying to figure out what exactly they're going to do today. So in this daily 13 market moves analysis, we're going to cover what has happened Friday. We're going to cover some crazy ideas that you can implement today on your trading. Look, this is a very exciting week, guys, so please grab a pen and paper and write this stuff down because there's so many great trades out there that you're really going to need to select just a few to stay focused. Now, before we head further, actually, I don't have a slide of the Tesla chart. Tesla chart just continues to deteriorate, and it is not listed as one of the trading ideas in the slides, but it is a trade that I'm very likely to take right as the market opens. 270 strike puts on Tesla. It's about to break down. I don't know if the big move is going to happen today. It could happen along with Netflix tomorrow, but it is about to happen. So, guys, here's some observations from April 12th, which was a Friday. The top three observations for the day were the fact that considering all the great news that we have gotten, and what were the great news? Typically, especially if you're a new trader, any type of takeover deal in any sector will propel the stocks higher because what it really means is stocks are undervalued. Well, the big oil deal, the Anadarko Petroleum, which the ticker is APC, the fact that there's a number of companies interested in acquiring and putting a bid on it is extremely, phenomenally bullish for all the oil stocks. So clearly, the main observation again was the fact that oil stocks on Friday were literally trading like they were on steroids. We had some phenomenal gains in oil stocks. Now, that typically is a very good reason for the market to get overall bullish. Now, we had some really cool stuff from Disney that has taken place. We took the reverse side and shorted Netflix. For those of you guys that took the trade, congratulations, you made a ton of money. Now, on JP Morgan earnings, we're going to talk a little bit further on that. And, the earnings were great. Now, they were not great in relation to what's coming with ahead of the next quarters. That is why we still believe the reversal is very much in play here. However, these were the top three positive news on Friday. And considering the magnitude of the positivity of these news, the market should have gone substantially higher, but it did not. So with all the great news, if the market cannot break out 30, 40, 50 points higher on any given day, it's going to be very tough for us to hit all-time highs. And I know some of you are thinking, well, dude, we're pretty much at all-time highs right now. What are you talking about? We're like 20, 30 points away. Guys, the question is, and where some of the greatest trades are going to be placed here over the course of the next couple of weeks, is on the reversal side. If we notice further developments where some of the charts, as they hit in these high levels, they're not likely to sustain, and this is going to be the perfect time to come in and take advantage of such opportunities, mainly because the put option premiums are just so low right now. I mean, if you were trading with me back in October, November, December, some of these puts, they were selling for phenomenally, astronomical prices, right? And so, in other words, the option premiums were highly, highly elevated. And that is exactly the opposite of what we're seeing right now. For those of you that have studied my PDF file, how I took 12K to 466K, it was exactly an environment just like that when VIX was around 11, 12, and the market was phenomenally looking bullish, but I took exactly the contrarian side of the equation. That's how I was able to place 30 trades consecutively without a loss on one given day, trading these high beta names like Amazon and so on. So the bottom line is this, guys. I feel like we're really close to some phenomenal opportunities, so congratulations. You get to be a part of this outstanding market environment, which is about to produce some huge gains. Now, some of the things that we're observing that are critical, okay, clearly it's the beginning of the earnings season. We are going to be paying very close attention to how the charts are going to show us what JP Morgan is going to do today, if there's actually indeed going to be a follow-through on what has taken place, the bullish move in JP Morgan on Friday. Specifically, we're observing Citigroup. Citigroup on the chart, we're going to take a closer look in just a second, showing some signs of a possible reversal. Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, BLK, all of these guys are the stocks that we'll be reporting here in the next 48 hours, meaning today, tomorrow. So we ideally want you to study their charts and be ready to trade these stocks. Another interesting trading idea, we're going to use the correlation trade APHA versus which stock could produce some phenomenal gains for you. A JB Hunt, we're going to walk through a trade on that. Now, VIX is dropping to a multi-month low. We're literally broke for VIX under 12. It closed at 11.95 on a Friday. The question, what is VIX is going to do next? We're going to analyze that. And is it finally time to short the Chinese stocks like BABA? We're going to show you why right now may be actually a good idea to start building some of these short positions in names like BABA. Now, the most important thing, guys, yesterday you should have received this over the weekend on a Sunday. You should have received this picture right here. If you're new, I'm just going to show you briefly how to utilize this. So these are clearly the dates. By the way, pay attention. The market will be closed Friday. So when you're buying this week options, make sure you close them out on Thursday. And also keep in mind not to overpay for these options because they actually they should be worth less because they actually have 1 day less on their time frame. Now, if you look right here, it says AM. AM means these are the companies that are reporting earnings pre-market. So your goal as a trader is to pull up whatever platform you're using, 1 day, 1 minute chart, and you're going to start making some really good observations about the initial reactions of these stocks right after they report earnings. Now, this is what we're specifically paying close attention today, APHA, which is actually a cannabis stock. So by making observations how this stock trade, we are also looking at how we can potentially trade some other cannabis stocks. And so the observations of what this stock does pre-market is crucial in us determining which side of the equation will be trading in the cannabis sector. C is the ticker for Citigroup. Again, we're going to take a closer look at that in just a second. MTB is another financial bank. So we're going to look at the chart of that in just a second. JB Hunt. So these are the top 4 stocks that we are watching as far as putting together our earnings plays. Tomorrow before the market opens, we're going to review the charts of these stocks right here. And so each day, basically, whatever is on your list. Now, ideally, I don't want you guys to just tune in and listen to the 13 Market Moves Daily Analysis video. Ideally, I want you guys to really understand and try to gain some ideas before you watch these videos. So, you know, you can look at the charts, you can use the information to start in the charts and divergences course, and you can apply it to the charts of these stocks, and then really observe what's actually taken in the marketplace, okay? So, very good observation that I'd like to share with you this morning. Simple stuff, guys. We try to make it as simple as possible. So anytime you see a chart like this, where the stock is basically trending sideways, what that tells you that as the trading range tightens, the stock is about to make a significant move higher or lower. And this type of chart can actually closely be compared to what the indexes are doing right now. I mean, they're not really making any crazy moves. They're really going sideways. And in this sideways environment, be ready that a breakout to either direction is about to happen. So APH actually pre-market, take a look. This is exactly what happened. Remember, so this tightened range all of a sudden breaks. Now, this break may not look significant to you guys because you're like, oh, okay, what's the big deal? So this is APHA pre-market drops from $10 all the way to $8.76. Now, considering the percentage change, this is huge. It would be equivalent to like $100 stock dropping like $13 because this move is like 13% move. So it wouldn't surprise me if at some point today maybe a PHA hit a level of 8. Now, you know, if you've taken all of our courses that we don't like to trade these cheap stocks. So what we ideally want to do is we want to find the highest trading ticker in the sector. And so how would you actually trade this move? So if you're in front of your computer right now, you're like, boom, this stock is down pre-market. The initial reaction to the earnings report is down. They're getting out, they're selling it, okay? So how would you actually trade this? Well, you want to pull up your winning watch list and you want to find the highest priced stock on your winning watch list. And in this case, also, you know, the highest priced stock for a while has been TLRY. And you know, we've placed some crazy trades on TLRY on both short side, buy side, and so on. But lately, specifically, you know, this TLRY has had one of the worst charts compared to some other tickers in the sector like Cron, CGC. TLRY had absolutely the worst chart. And so if you're taking a closer look, how would you actually trade this morning? You would actually, as soon as the market opens, we're looking to purchase some more TLRY puts. Okay, now we've posted the video like a week or two ago when it was like at $68. You probably witnessed me trading this thing live you know, when I was shorting it from like 74 all the way down to 68, 65 level and so on. So if you're curious to revisit those videos, get some more insight on those trades and how they were executed, you can certainly do that. But for the purpose of this trade today, basically this is a correlation trade. We're noticing that a lower price stock in the cannabis sector is selling off on volume. What we want to do is we don't want to deal with this, you know, $8 stock. What we want to do is we want to buy some more puts in TLRY because it is likely to sell off. Now, what you may be thinking, okay, you know, what strike should I be buying? We suggest 55 or 50 strike. Now, of course, 55 is going to be much safer because you're going to be buying them way in the money. And the next logical question should be like, okay, well, it has come down quite a bit. I mean, I remember when we were shorting the stock when it was at 200, 300 bucks right now. I remember when we were shorting it at 100. I remember, you know, recently when we were shorting at 74. So now the stock is at 52, and your logical question should be, Leonardo, do you really still want to short the stock? I mean, it has come down quite a bit. Yes, because I have the catalyst today that APHA is actually dropping. I think that is still a good idea to short this, especially the last candle we had. As you can see, it's a bearish reversal candle in this thing. And every time this thing, this really resembles the chart of Bitcoin, number one. I'll show you another chart it resembles shortly. It resembles actually the chart of VIX, if you look in a longer time frame. So in other words, every time it pops, they come in, they sell. It pops, they sell. And I think this is not the last move lower. And if you were to ask me, where do we think this could actually end up being over the course of the next 10 days, it has not been making these huge moves as it typically does in its history when it was trading at a higher range, like 100 bucks. I mean, we had daily moves in the stock when it was moving $30, $40 to either direction daily. Okay, now we don't have these large of a magnitude of the moves anymore, so it's reasonable to expect $2 drop, $3 drop at most, probably on any given day. As you can see, Friday, all it did was just drop 61 cents. Initially, it was down $2. But basically, over the course of the next 10 days, it's reasonable to expect the target level about 45, 42 possibly, okay? But for the purpose of the trade today, this week, if you buy the 55 strike puts, you can probably easily get out once TLRY reaches a level of maybe 46, 47, 48, and just call it a quick trade. Boom, done, in and out. And this move below 50 could materialize today, guys. Another thing to actually consider, if you see that it's getting to that 50 level and it hesitates to break below 50 like 1, 2, 3, 4 times, that's probably the time to also just lock in a smaller gain and get out. But the chart points that these sell-offs, they keep occurring at a much higher volume. Therefore, we think the move lower is still very likely here. Now, let's review what we said about the JP Morgan, right? We specifically suggested in the last 13 market move daily video saying, look, observe this level about 110, 111, because this is the danger level where JP Morgan pretty much turns around and starts dropping regardless of how good or bad the earnings are. And so finally, we're at this level. This is where JP Morgan ends up closing at 111.21. We broke down the trade saying, hey, initially get in at about 110 level, then get some more at 111. And the last ad we suggested was at a level of 1180. So this trade at this point is not making money. It's not losing money. So today is actually a crucial point. So if it does break above 112.28, we suggest closing out the position, taking a small loss. Now, if it gets to 112 and it hesitates, you may want to add one last time on this trade and actually target the level this week of about 107, 108 by Friday. The reason we would suggest that is not all the stocks in the financial sector are unanimously going higher. So in other words, it's not like they're bullish on every stock. It's not like they're buying every stock blindly. And so only a couple of financials reported so far. Wells Fargo is a good example of a financial stock that actually reported pretty decent earnings but sold off, right? And sold off on huge volume. Okay, the highly controversial stock that we have taken the trade on that we're still expecting the reversal is PNC. As you can see, the reason why we expect the reversal, because every time it hits this blue line, it gets close to it, it makes a rather large pullback. And we're still expecting that. It is at this critical level of 131.75, so we're expecting a move lower from here. That does not mean that PNC cannot initially move, let's say, today. The market is rather muted, but rather, slightly in the green. At the point I'm recording this, it's actually S&P 500 is up like half a point. So pretty much nothing is going on. Another lower move expected in the markets today. So do not buy puts significantly out of the money. But this thing could easily fall back to 125. As a matter of fact, one of the things that made us consider this trade was we noticed an increased amount in the put options buying activity in the 125 strike. So people are still thinking that this thing could drop below 125 by Friday. At this point, I think if it hesitates to move below 130 today, it may be reasonable to raise this target from 125 to possibly like 127 level. Okay, and PNC again, yeah, everything looks bullish as far as Friday, but again, it's hitting this level. I mean, you can clearly see that it's right at that level, so the probability that it's going to move higher on lower strength is not very likely. Clearly, it was during the divergence right here, guys. Okay, now today, to complement this financial trade, the top key stocks to watch is the Citigroup, and we've discussed that. And Citigroup's got a divergence on the RSI. It's got diminishing volumes. It's got some potential for a reversal as well, including this bearish reversal candle right here, guys. Overall, every time it hits a higher level, the RSI does not break out higher. As a matter of fact, it's slightly lower. So there's a possible reversal in the shares of Citigroup. If Citigroup reverses, then there's a probability that some other financials will reverse as well, including JP Morgan and PNC. Now, the next stock that will be reported today is M&T Bank, and clearly we've got a triple top, we've got divergence on our RSI, we've got bearish reversal candle. So there is a lot of signs that tell us that this thing potentially is going to reverse. So if you've got two financials reporting today, if they are reversing, if they're dropping after announcing earnings, then there is a high probability that now we have more components of the financial sector that are reversing on earnings. And if that is the case, then it's reasonable to expect that the entire financial sector is overall going to be trading lower over the course of the next 48 hours. If the financials trade lower, then it's going to be very tough for the market to break out higher and reach all-time highs. Now, attention, this is the stock. Guys, this is probably my top trading idea for the day. Let me tell you why. JB Hunt Transport, okay, this ticker JBHT, okay, actually has a very high probability of a reversal after bullish pop higher. So here's one example of such a case where 3 months ago when I reported earnings, as you can see, it initially goes higher, and then what happens? 1, 2, 3 days basically in a row, it sells off. Okay, and notice what it does going into the earnings. So going into the earnings, it typically does trend higher, as it's trying to do right now. Okay, it's reasonable to expect if it pops to a level of 110, I'm looking to come in and buy some puts. Literally 110 puts, maybe 108 puts on this thing, depending how high the pop. As you can see, like it has a history. Actually, I've got a chart that I've saved here for you guys. If you study the history of JB Hunt, look, this is what was happening in July, right? That was, 2 quarters ago when we reported earnings. We're shorting it that day. It was a highly profitable trade, about 800%er. So we've got, when it went to 130, we didn't get in all the way at the top, but we shorted it right here at about 127, 126. Our target level for the day was 116. As you can see, that's exactly what it did that day. Went higher, popped higher on lower volume, reversed. So it actually has quite of a, consecutive history of going initially higher and then selling off. So that is why we consider this a higher probability trade. Now, it does not mean that after reporting earnings, JB Hunt cannot just drop. So if it does drop, then maybe we're seeing a reversal in behavior, so we're probably going to avoid the trade. But if it pops higher and lower volume, then we're definitely going to try to take a bite of this trade right here. Okay, and as you can see, if we take a look, what makes this trade more of a higher probability trade is the fact that if we take a look at the longer time frame, we do have a resemblance of a head and shoulder pattern as well, with a lot of divergences that are playing out here nicely. So I like this trade, guys. I like it. So I'm going to be paying very close attention to this particular ticker when the markets are going to open. Now, Netflix. Okay, notice earlier we were talking, hey, things at some point when they keep trending in this really tight trading range, at some point it will break either higher or lower. So in this particular case, Netflix. Okay, this was actually a snapshot of Netflix chart on the 11th, and this is what happens on the 12th, right? So Disney versus Netflix saga continues. I think it is likely to continue over the course of the next 72 hours. That's why we actually think that buying Netflix puts if you have closed them out on Friday, if you were just buying those puts Friday for trading Friday only, I think this is still a phenomenal opportunity, because considering the fact that we're just breaking below this blue line, I think we're going to see some sellers coming in. And what could be a better catalyst to short this thing? I think a lot of institutional investors will be using tomorrow's earnings, after earnings, guys. Remember, it does not report earnings pre-market. It will be reporting earnings after market tomorrow on the 16th. So the big move in the stock will be taking place tomorrow after market. And so do not load up expecting a huge move lower, which, by the way, we do think Netflix could drop all the way to $300 this week. We are expecting continuing sell-off, possibly by tomorrow evening, for it to hit 338 level, which would coincide with this orange line on higher volume. We think that the sell-off, what we are really saying is people are going to continue taking money out of Netflix, and they're going to keep reinvesting it into Disney shares right now. So we're going to have investors getting out of this. As you can see, this is a really cool trade, because the accumulation distribution is still right here, the very high point, which is awesome. That tells you that a lot of sellers could actually come in and get rid of the stock. Also, MACD is showing us the fact that, look, this is bearish, and this thing right here, as bearish as it's been, can make a sharper move lower from here. So higher volume is also a very good indication. Failing RSI at these levels every time we keep hitting this 370. Look what happens to RSI. It keeps going lower. So multiple reasons to stay short Netflix. Again, if you want to implement a simple trade, buy in the money. You cannot go wrong with buying options in the money, near the money, in this low VIX environment. If you're trading a smaller account, this is actually the time after Netflix announced earnings to actually buy some cheaper puts out of the money that can still produce phenomenal results without utilizing a ton of capital. Now, clearly, this is Disney. We can see that while Netflix is falling on huge volume, Disney is actually moving higher on humongous volume. This is the hugest volume we've ever seen on Disney, at least on this chart right here. Okay, accumulation is falling higher, RSI is falling higher. So super bullish on Disney, super bearish on Netflix. Now, and lastly, look, we've been looking at a lot of Chinese stocks, and I think this is time to come in and start initiating some put positions on these names, because they're definitely showing some signs of weakness. There's definitely some divergences that are developing in the RSI, in the volume, and this drop in this Chinese sector is coming. The Chinese economy is deteriorating, so overall, I think the Chinese stock market is going to go significantly lower by the end of the year. But these key names, I mean, if you take a look at, for example, this BABA, which would be the simplest trade to take, look at where we are. I mean, so this is where the stock was trading, levels of 180, 200. These were the levels when the tariffs were announced between China, and this is when the situation got worse. So notice that sometimes when the bad news comes out, it'll have a reaction, it'll bounce, and then drop. But I think we're getting close to the point to where this 188, 189 level, this is a good level to come in and short this thing, because there is no any kind of trade deal that is going to be accomplished in anywhere soon. So starting to come in, not like load up and you know, accumulate some huge positions here, but trying to start building a position, you know, a few contracts at a time as you progress, and maybe put a target range of about 2 to 3 weeks on this trade to materialize. This could be a very good trade right here, guys, because there's a lot of bearish things that are developing. And, you know, the number one rule you want to use, you want to short at the top. When you short at the top, yes, the stock could still continue a little bit higher. You can add a little bit more. As long as you stair step, you guys will do just fine. And so just understand, just because we're saying, hey, we're bearish on China, we're bearish on the Chinese stocks right now because they're close to their top trading range, it does not mean that all of a sudden this stock is going to drop today. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's going to drop tomorrow. However, I do think there is an increased probability that it will drop tomorrow, and let me explain why. So let's review the market move sequence. Market move 7 on Friday. I've got tricked. I actually tricked myself in the daily video. I specifically said, guys, watch out. You know, it could look like a move 2, but it could actually be a move 7. And so at some point, I send out the alert saying, hey, guys, it's a move 2. It's confirmed. And so please do not repeat these mistakes, guys, because this market is a bit tricky. One giveaway on how you could have avoided making this foolish mistake that I made is certainly observing and paying closer attention to the VIX. But I had so many trades going on at the same time and I really failed to acknowledge what was the most important thing for the day, and that was VIX breaking lower. Now, some stocks clearly didn't stop them from dropping, like Netflix, but they had their own catalysts within. So this actually makes it for a very great environment to short individual stocks that are dropping on catalysts pertaining to that particular stock. Now, so market move 7, why do we lock it in as a 7? So clear, the market opens higher, it drops, and it looks like a move too. So this is what I was paying too much attention to, guys. I've been focusing on the sell-offs intraday. And one difference that we're observing this particular sell-off, as I pointed in the prior videos, every time we're getting a sell-off, it happens on a higher volume. This was actually different on Friday. This sell-off did come in super fast. It looked like we were heading for a move too. The formation here was perfect. The timing of the move was really good. And it looked like we were heading for a move too, but then the market made a triple bottom, picked itself up, finished higher for the day. So that's why we logged in as a move too. But one crucial component of move too was missing. We were dropping on slightly increased volume. We're not dropping on significantly increased volume. So if you would have caught that along with the VIX picture, you could have identified it as a move 7 and saved yourself money or positioned yourself better to trade it. So the 2-day sequence is 5-7, which is bullish. Okay, this is how the 2-day sequence looks on the chart. So it was our move 5 on a Thursday, move 7 on a Friday. Boom, boom, there you guys are. Now, interesting to see is after we hit this level of 29.1475, I think we're going to revisit this level today, and after that, we're going to head for a drop. Now, here's the 5-day sequence, 4, 3, 10, 5, 7. Predominantly bullish, but again, what we noticed in the intraday chart on a Friday is here's your high 29.14.75, here's your second top, so possible double top, and with today's action we could possibly revisit that level easily of 29.14 before the drop tomorrow. Now tomorrow I'm actually talking about the drop on April 16th. And I'll show you why we think that is actually possible. Now, VIX review. VIX has been low numerically, under 16 for a while now. Now, we're observing the 3rd day of a downtrend after the VIX actually attempted to move higher for a couple of days in a row. So, 3rd day on a downtrend, finally under 12. Now, here's the importance of this, guys. Well, by the way, let's take a quick look at what the VIX is doing pre-market. Pre-market, we're actually significantly higher. The VIX is gapping up higher. So that could tell us that maybe this was finally the bottom. Nailing the bottom in the VIX is quite difficult because every time it has been popping higher, it's been doing this move 2 type situation. As you can see, it tried to open higher on Friday and then it sold off throughout the rest of the day. So some of these gaps, they have a very high probability of still being closed. But what we are looking at to see if the VIX will actually sustain this level, and the moment it sustains this level and moves above that, that would be the time to actually load up on VIX calls because of this right here, guys. Check out the longer time frame. So it looks like VIX has been downtrending all the way from 36, which was December 24th high, and all the way now to 12. Now this has taken over the time frame of 4 months, not a very long time frame. So it's reasonable to expect a move higher. Move higher where? Clearly to the 16 level. Here's why. The longer time frame chart tells us, or to look at that 2-year range, that every time VIX has gotten to this level of 12 in the last 15 months, it actually bounced. And in most cases, where did it bounce? It bounced to this level of about 16. Right here, these blue dots, some of them are a little bit higher, like 17, 18. But let's not be overly aggressive here. Let's basically 16, right? Conservatively speaking, 16. Aggressively speaking, 18. So it's reasonable to expect that a bounce higher could come in at any day from this point on, as the history points to. So possibility of the next market move. Clearly today we could get a 1 or a 5. I would be watching for some sell-off going into the latter part of the day, especially if the financials are beginning to drop. So move 6, in my view, is probably the highest probability for today, initially higher with a sell-off between 2 and 4 p.m. And if that takes place, then the next alternate move that we're targeting for tomorrow would be a move 3. So Ideally, you want to take advantage of some of the earnings plays earlier in the day, and what you want to do is position yourself going into the last part of the day, like between 2 and 4 p.m. If you see the market start selling off, start buying puts with an expectation of a move 3 tomorrow. Now, the reason we think it has a high probability, looking at the similar VIX environment under 16, the most recent example in the history of 13 markets move forward, we can identify in July 2018. This is what's been going on. As you can see, there was a move 10, followed by a move 1, followed by a move 7, followed by a move 1. This is exactly what we're having right now, right? So we had a move 10, followed by 3 consecutive. If indeed today we're going to get like a move 1 or a 5, it would be consecutively 3 bullish moves. After that, it followed by 3. So if we were to use the historic analogy, there is a higher probability of a move 3 tomorrow. If we get a slightly bullish move like a 5 or diminished magnitude of the move 1, especially if we get a move 6, 6-3 sequence has not come up in quite some time. Combine all the market move tops that we have observed over the course of the last few weeks, it would make sense that we finally get a 6, that there's a high probability of a 3 shortly following after that. So the key takeaways, guys, we're paying very close attention to the financials. Are they going to be able to sustain the move higher, or are they going to run out of fuel today? This is very critical because the financials keep making consistent moves higher over the course of the next few days. Then it does open up a huge opportunity for the market to move higher. Now, it's not going to happen if the technology stocks are beginning to sell off. So we're paying very close attention to how Amazon and Apple and other stocks are going to be reacting to Netflix earnings. So the correlation trades could be phenomenal here, guys. So play very close attention. If Netflix sells off and the reaction of other FANG stocks, they begin to sell off, which we're already noticing some weakness in Amazon, because Amazon could have easily moved higher on Friday. But you guys, if you were trading Amazon, if you pay close attention, Amazon's got a very difficult time breaking above the 1850 level. So if some of the best stocks are unable to move higher on the day where the market is reaching pretty much close to all-time highs, within 20-30 points from all-time highs, if your top stock is having a hard time moving higher that day, that tells you, hold on, something is wrong. Something's just not 100% right with this market right here. So if Netflix sells off, if we see a huge move lower in Amazon and Apple and some other FANG stocks, that tells you that there is a higher and higher probability of a reversal as we nearing these all-time highs. So looking for the reaction in the next sectors that are announcing. Today, JB Hunt, which would be transports. Tomorrow, we're going to have CSX, a lot of railroad companies. So the transports are beginning to report. Some tech stocks beginning to report, starting with Netflix tomorrow. Continue to bet against Netflix. So investor flow from Netflix to Disney has a high probability to continue in the next 72 hours. So we are looking to short Netflix again. Expecting to move 3 Tuesday tomorrow, especially if VIX does not close the gap on the way lower, the bullish gap that's created pre-market today. If that gap sustains throughout the trading session today, that tells us that there's an increased probability of a move 3 tomorrow. Now, number 5, begin to build short position Chinese sectors such as BABA, Baidu, NTS. These are typical Chinese sector targets. There could be some great opportunity coming up in these names, guys. So small, trade small in this Chinese sector, start building the positions. And if there's third signs that they're starting to roll over, then add to the position. Okay, guys, with that said, this is going to be a super busy week. Clear up your schedule, like especially Wednesday, Thursday, focus. There could be some really, really awesome trades. Guys, study the Rockstar course. It's been updated. There's a ton of great information that can help you trade more consistently throughout this earnings season. Make it a great day. I hope everyone makes a ton of awesome trades this earnings season, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.